Hello and welcome to Freedom Watch, your daily dose of raw liberty, streaming online at foxnews.com/freedomwatch. I'm Judge Andrew Napolitano, here defending freedom, defending your natural rights, and defending your right to have a government that stays within the confines of the Constitution. The model for bailing out the Greek government is terrifying. First, we don't know of the involvement of the U.S. Federal Reserve, so some questions can be raised. Can the Fed conduct its own foreign policy, independent of the President and the Congress, to whom foreign policy is delegated in the Constitution? Can the Fed just bail out or decline to bail out whatever foreign governments or foreign banks it wants? Answer, yes, but we probably will not know the truth without an audit of the Fed. Also troubling is we don't know the conditions imposed upon the Greek government by the EU and the Central Bank of Germany, which leads us to another question. Might the conditions for a bailout of the Greek government impair the sovereignty of Greece as a country? Answer, we don't know again, but it could happen. Joining me now is the world's #1 trends forecaster, Gerald Celente, director of the Trends Research Institute. Jerry, always a pleasure. Welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Oh, thanks, Judge. Always great being on with you.
So give us the big picture. What happened in Greece? Who bailed them out? Who paid what to whom? And what did they get in return?
Well, as you mentioned, we don't know what really came about. They're not telling us what went on with the bailouts in America. They still haven't opened up, despite lawsuits against the Federal Reserve in trying to free up that information that we should all know. But the reality of what's going on is the big picture. The global financial systems are collapsing. Let's look at the economic monetary union. It's against the economic monetary union to bail out any country. And as we know, the budget deficits in Greece far exceed the 3% prescribed by the economic union, the 3% of the GDP, the budget deficit to GDP. It's about 13%. Let's take a look over here, Judge. What's it in the United States? The GDP, the budget deficit, yearly deficit is what, 10.6%? This is a global economic crisis. All they're doing, country after country, is dumping money into the problem, and it's all falling on the taxpayers' back.
Where is the money coming from that the EU has given or is giving to Greece, and how do they expect that those debts could ever be paid back? Half of the people in Greece are employed directly or indirectly by this bankrupt government.
You hit it right on the head. It's a bankrupt government. It's not going to be paid back, just like it's not going to be paid back in the United States. The debt in the United States per person is $40,000. They're never going to pay it back. We are in the midst of a global financial crisis, the likes of which we have never seen in modern history. These problems are going to continue. Let's look beyond Greece. Look what's going on in Ireland. Look what's going on in Spain, in Italy, France, who everyone looks to having the second most stable government economically in Europe. What's their GDP to budget deficit? It's about 8.6%, as supposed to be 3%. So this crisis is the canary in the mine cage.
What happens, not with Greece, but what happens here in the U.S.? The government just increased the debt ceiling by $2 trillion. It's now up to a number that looks like 2 or 3 telephone numbers together, 14 some odd trillion. Literally, what would happen if those debts become due and the federal government can't pay them back?
Well, we're seeing it already. Look what's going on with all the bonds in the United States. We have California that's on the brink of default. The Fed's pumping money into it, and they're doing it over and over again. We're in for the greatest depression. It's going to be a financial crisis. It's already happening. The phantom money printed out of thin air isn't worth the digital paper it's not printed on.
Jerry, only you could say that so nicely. But still the government continues to print, either literally printing or using fiat money, which it creates out of thin air by adding zeros to a column that a bank has at the Fed. The practical effect of each of those is to devalue almost down to nothing the cash that's in our pockets. So question, are they stupid enough? Are they arrogant enough? Are they, the people that run the American government and the American banking system, so oblivious to the consequences of their behavior that they will just continue to print and continue to create fiat money with utter disregard for the natural and probable consequences of their behavior?
I think they know what they're doing, and they know that they're in a catch-22. No matter what they do, they're going to fall short, and they're just playing this game out as long as they can. And Greece, again, you know, this popped up out of nowhere, according to Trichet, the head of the central bank in Europe. You go back to last December 2009, and he was saying that Greece was no problem at all. They're just covering this up. They're swimming as fast as they can. Current events form future trends. Look what gold prices are doing today. They shot up almost $20 an ounce before retracting a bit. So the smart money knows that the paper money, the digital money, isn't going to be worth anything.
Give me your best guess, your best guess, Jerry. Do you think that it is likely that the U.S. Federal Reserve put some cash into the pot that made its way to Athens earlier this week?
You know, Judge, I've narrowed it down to 6 simple words: Princeton, Harvard, Yale, bullets, bombs, and banks. You bet they have. They're all in this together. Everyone knows the game. It's the central banks around the world trying to keep this Ponzi scheme afloat. And they're all in it together. And they're all worried about the future. And they're all going to tell us that, don't worry, it's under control. The Great Depression has been avoided. It hasn't. They've only covered it up.
I always thought that politicians would just try and push these problems into the future, that George Bush just wanted to push the debt that he created into whoever would succeed him, and that President Obama would try and do the same, certainly beyond the midterm elections. But at some point, they can't push it any farther. And at some point, they will have to answer to the voters, to history, to the laws of nature, won't they, for the catastrophic consequences of their inability to understand Economics 101. What do you think?
Well, yes, but who are they going to answer to? We have a two-headed one-party system. It goes back and forth, Republicans and Democrats. It's the same game. You know, Ronald Reagan had it right when he said that politics is the second oldest profession.
Right.
At least with the first profession, you end up with a happy ending. This one, you know, we're finished. And this is very serious. You know, let's stop calling what's going on in America capitalism. Capitalism is dead in America. It's dead worldwide. Since when? Since when do we bail out all those who are in trouble? And the ones that are in trouble the most, and we're going to take it from the top. It's not only the central bank, it's these leveraged buyout firms, these private equity groups, all these huge commercial real estate deals. Look what happened. Bye-bye, Dubai. That's out of the news.
And
the whole thing is collapsing.
And it's a government that refuses to obey its own laws and refuses to reside within the confines of the Constitution. Gerald Celente, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us on Freedom Watch.
Hey, thank you, Judge.